What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts from the Real Fan Review, coming out of Long Island, New York. With me today, we got our man of the chair, Al.
How's it going, everybody?
We also got my brother, your brother, everyone's brother, B.
What's up, everybody? How you doing tonight?
You know what? I'm going to take that last one back. He's not everybody's brother. He's just my brother. That's it. I start getting jealous and shit. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Whoa, hey, oh. Basically raised the kid. So listen, man, there was not a lot of news this week, but Al and I did get to see a couple movies, and we're going to talk about some of those movies today. And B wanted to be in on the first conversation tonight, which is going to be our conversation really quickly on Jonathan Majors and what's going on with him really quickly, because Jonathan Majors, as you guys know from fame of Lovecraft Country, that's where I first saw that guy, and he's been ever since that. Even in Lovecraft Country, you could see that there was a star there coming because of the way that he acted in that show. And then, we saw that he got a shot in a couple movies. And then it was like the year of Jonathan Majors was coming. He had Devotion come out, where there was the movie about him in the planes in the old military there. Then it was Ant-Man Quantumania with the featuring Kang. He was going to be in that. And then right after Kang was Creed 3, and it was just like, oh my God, this guy's year is going to be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And with the way it is right now, man, I mean, I'm not trying to say that this guy is innocent or he's guilty. I mean, there's too many stories going in between, but it feels like we're about to watch the fall of Jonathan Majors, which is kind of crazy. The reason why we're bringing it up today is because I just saw news that his talent agency and also his like promoters
firm.
are, his PR firm is pretty much dropping him. So it's almost like, you would figure that they know more than everybody else, because if they thought he was innocent, they would not leave that man. Not at this moment in time when this man is about to take off in his career. So the fact that they're kind of like coming off of him like this, it makes it seem like we're about to hear some real shit. So and again, like with most of these Hollywood men and things that go on within the industry and just in basic domestic issues as well, it's like, if you do one thing or you fuck up out there, you will get this happening to you. You know what I mean? So it's almost like you're getting your comeuppance, and you kind of deserve it. You know what I mean? And I don't even know if I should say kind of, but if you're guilty of these things, you are getting what you kind of reap. You know what I'm saying? You put that kind of negativity out into the world, and you harm someone, these things are going to happen, and no longer will it be like swept under the rug. So it's kind of crazy. So I mean, like, let's just get into a topic of Jonathan Majors. And like, I know we normally talk movies in general, but Jonathan Majors is a great actor, or a big actor right now. And not to mention that Jonathan Majors was going to be, or still, we'll see what happens in the future. He's our Kang the Conqueror, or the multiverse Kangs in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, Al, what's your take with what you heard? I mean, let's just go briefly into what is claimed to have happened.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple weeks back, I think it was him and his girlfriend in a taxi, and apparently, some kind of domestic issue happened where either a cell phone was being looked at. Again, details are not for sure,
Yeah.
but the end result was there was markings on this woman, and the police saw the markings and had to arrest this man.
Yeah.
There's been rumors of her denying the claim, but here we are still weeks later with nothing. So Al, go, you take it over from there, my man.
Yeah, like you said, she got, I think he was the one who originally called the cops, which is the ironic part to this story. He claimed she was having some kind of a mental episode. So he called the cops respond. She said, she makes the allegations that she was struck. She had injuries to her face and neck. So ultimately, yeah, he got arrested, and I think he was charged with assault, strangulation, and harassment.
Wow.
So, you're not getting taken in just for nothing. So the fact that they saw the markings, she went to the hospital. It was documented she had those injuries.
Yeah.
So, when it first happened, I remember saying, "Oh, watch, because I think the lawyer immediately came and said that they had
Proof or
testimony from
video
two
evidence.
people, they had video evidence, they had all
Right.
this." So I remember thinking, you know what? If this was an Uber, a lot of these guys have cameras in the cars now just in case they get struck, because a lot of these Uber drivers have been getting physically assaulted, so a lot of them have cameras. So I'm like, all right, so this camera will prove, maybe he didn't hit her and she's just making up a story because, maybe he threatened to break up with her during the fight, or maybe she's afraid that because it was over him texting another girl, maybe she was afraid she's losing him, so she took advantage of a situation. There was a lot of scenarios that were running through my head of what could have happened, but I figured, you know what, let's let this play out.
Right.
Let's see what's going on. Then these text messages came out that supposedly were going to prove him innocent, and I think they kind of hurt him even more. So, with these recent events happening so far after, like, I think the army dropped him. They had him set to be in a couple of commercials for them. They
Yeah,
dropped
that
him
was like
right away.
really right away, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right away. The army said, "All right, yep, we're not airing those commercials."
Yeah.
So for his management company and PR firm to wait this long, like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if they already got wind from Disney that he's not going to be Kang. And if
Yeah.
that was going to be his big meal ticket for the next decade, and they just found out that that's not going to be there, and then after that you already have a couple of other projects saying, "Oh yeah, we're not using him anymore." And the only things I think that I could find that he's still attached to are some two lower end projects. Yeah, it's not looking good for his future in terms of longevity. So, like, I'm not, who knows? He is a good talent. So somehow, maybe with time, this will fall out. Like everything, people wait till it falls out of the news cycle, and then they wait a couple of years,
Right.
and then they try to make a
Comeback story.
comeback.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you said, given what he's done, it's almost difficult for you to put him forward now as some kind of a role model or anything out there to promote, because this is always going to be the news cycle. So whatever
Hmm.
project, whatever movie he gets put in, everybody that's this is what everybody's going to want to talk about.
Gotcha.
And it didn't help that when everything happened, there was some people that knew him back from his
His
college
regular like
days and coming
college
up.
days. Yeah.
They were like, "Yo, he was always like this," and
Yeah. It was
and I
like he's a
told y'all.
douchebag. In nicer terms,
Yeah.
douchebag.
Yeah, man. So I wouldn't be surprised if even either by the end of the week or by next week, we get some kind of notification from Disney that, yeah, we got a new Kang,
Yeah. I
or
mean, and
there's
it
going to be a new Kang at least.
right, and that's what's kind of been the rumors now that's going on. And again, we touch on movie news, movie rumors, and B, there's rumors that there's thoughts about possibly changing things with Kang, because of course, I mean, you could get away with it kind of with the whole variant thing. So kind of sucks that we just saw Ant-Man and Quantumania, and we saw the ending there, and they were all versions of him,
Yeah.
but you can get away with it again with it's the variant of Kang and something, some sort of issue like that, right? But then there's also the fact of this is a young man still, with a whole career ahead of him, and I think he let him maybe a moment get to the best of him, or again, it's not for sure what happened, but I mean, it doesn't look good. What's your thoughts, B?
I don't know. It's heartbreaking because like I think about it. This guy is maybe what, a year or two older than I am.
Hmm.
Like he's like 33. And for him to be 33, this is was supposed to be the year of Jonathan Majors, his
Hmm.
first time going to the Met Gala. Based off the three movies that he's been in, he was going to be up for some kind of Oscar or something. And so,
Right.
like, you take a look at those accolades that this man could have achieved this year, and it's like all for naught. It's just
Yeah.
down the drain, and it's heartbreaking because, like we said, like we don't know whether he's in the right or the wrong. We have no details, but to Al's point, the more we hear about other people and their ending relationships with Jonathan Major, the more you start to understand that they already have the news of where things are going, and it's just not gonna be in his favor. So, like I
Right.
said, I don't know the guy personally. People at NYU say things about him, and this is
Yeah.
behavior that they say he's had. We have the text message, which was very bad. They should have really thought twice about that text message, putting it out
Yeah.
there. But I mean,
And
even in
it's
the
gonna
same light,
clear him. It's gonna clear him.
and
He
I
makes
mean,
him look
even
like a douchebag.
in the same light, the fact
Yeah.
that that was also a text message is also damning because it's just like the fact that this woman put this out there in a text message. That she didn't put it out there, but she made the text saying that I'm sorry about this and I don't want this to come back to you, and I'm gonna say nothing happened. This is now, if this situation happened the way it happened, if
Right.
there's, if she was actually abused or not. And not to say that I don't believe her, but I wasn't there. I don't know. I don't have any information. But
Right.
if this happened to her, you now have a victim who is trying to support the abuser to her life. You're like, this woman could have had her own life ruined. And
Mhm.
she's trying to protect this man who abused her. And so, like,
Yeah.
that's another way to look at it that's heartbreaking to see. Like, this woman's 30 years old. And
Yeah.
to see that's the reaction from her to try and save his career based off of incident that happened, that hurts. So, like, we don't know either way what happened yet. Nothing's there. We don't have court cases. We don't know nothing. But
Right.
it's just really sad to see the perspective of this man and where he could have gone in the next decade. And, like,
Right.
I
Even the
think
next
about,
couple of years, yeah.
yeah, the next couple of years, like, this guy could have been someone that puts himself in that Michael B. Jordan spot. We've
Mhm.
known Michael B. Jordan since he was on The Wire. Like, he was 11 years old,
Yeah.
and so, like, to have him in that notoriety is great. This is Jonathan Majors at 30. I could see him at 45 being where, like, Denzel was at 45.
Mhm.
And, like, I don't know if you recover from it. Not with this day and age. Not with the way
No.
the world is now. There's no recovering from this.
Yeah, man. I
So
don't know
I
how
don't
Chris
know.
Brown did it. I don't know how Chris Brown. His music ain't that good, people. I don't
I, that's
know.
that's the thing that actually to this day still, like, alarms me. Is Chris Brown is still, like, a thing for people, and I'm just like, I don't know, like, that was proven, like, whether she grabbed your gonads or not, my man, like, that's assault. So I don't know. It sucks to see what could have came from this guy. It sucks to know that this is it.
Yeah.
Um, the MCU is gonna bounce back with or without
Yeah.
him. They'll find a way, even if they have to delay all of Loki season 2 that was already filmed.
Mhm.
They'll find a way. They'll push another show up front, until they can fix it. So Marvel's gonna be fine. It's just it sucks to know that that's what's going to happen to this man.
Yeah, man.
Good
And
or
I
bad,
think
I don't know.
right, we don't know, and of course, we'll update this if we do get any kind of new news about Jonathan Majors, hoping that this stuff all clears up and it was just a misrepresentation of what happened or what have you, but it just doesn't seem that way. Um, and the most unimportant part of this, Al, is the fact that at the end of the day, he is an actor in a lot of movies that we enjoy.
Mhm.
Um, and one of the bigger one is the Marvel universe. I mean,
Yeah.
Brandon just mentioned Loki season 2 already wrapped, and they're just doing the post production stuff before they release it. What's your thoughts on like Loki and Kang itself having to possibly be replaced, or just the fact that we may have to deal with a different Kang?
Unfortunately, well, I guess fortunately for Disney and us as fans, I don't think really this will have too dire long term of an impact because I mean they could always like a lot of people, rarely are people buying movies on DVD anymore. So realistically, Disney could get away with re-editing that cutscene at the end,
Hmm.
and whoever they decide to recast as Kang can be superimposed onto the faces, if not all of them, some of them, to justify why now Kang looks different.
They can
Right.
even delete
You
it.
know, yeah, because in the comics, Kang never really looked the same every time. He looked
No.
different, some of them look different than the other. So they can get away. I mean, it's going to be a pain in the ass because now you got to redo a contract, you got to recast, you got to find somebody who can fit into the role. So it's going to be a pain for them, but I don't think it's going to be an impossibility. And just like in the past, if they can recast properly and get another actor who can do the role well, kind of like what they did with Jordy. You went from what's his name to um, oh, geez, what's his name? Not
Jordy,
Rhodey,
Rhodey,
Rhodey, Rhodey.
Rhodey. Yeah,
Rhodey, yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
what character is that one?
It's okay. They recasted Cassie Lang 3 times already, so.
exactly. So they could do it. I mean, they can get
Yeah.
away with it, and then just re-edit certain scenes to justify why the appearance looks different, even if they have to go back to Ant-Man 3. And as fans, I think we'll go along with it as long as,
Right.
like always, as long as we get a good story, which hopefully we get a good story, which hasn't been the trend lately. Um, and if they can get a quality actor, either on his level, if not above. So I think Disney long term and the projects overall, I think will be okay from this.
Hmm.
Again, I think really the one that gets hurt from this the most is him personally.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the crazy part, man. And I agree with you guys. I think if anything, man, most people who watch movies don't really get that deep into it. But I think people will have an understanding like, hey, how come Jonathan Majors is not Kang? Yeah, just read a newspaper, but like, just Google it. You'll
Google
find out. And then once you Google it, you're like, oh yeah, I got it. Like, it's a different age and time where we have so much access to information to realize and understand things that we don't know or get.
Hmm.
So I do agree with you. I think people will just be like, oh yeah, he's not Kang no more. He's done.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
that's why this new character. I think they were saying they wanted a who is Idris Elba's son? Not Idris Elba. Oh, I forgot the kid's name now, but they were saying they were looking for someone like this kid.
Oh, Denzel
Oh
Washington's son,
no, not
Isaiah
him.
Washington
No, is it Isaiah Washington? I
the
forgot. I
guy
thought it
from
was.
Tenet.
Tenet, from Tenet.
Well, I would like him. He'd be awesome, man. He's a
Yeah,
great actor.
yeah.
Um, no, they were saying some kid, some not. I don't want to say kid like that, but he's on like TV shows and stuff like that. And I think his dad is famous. I just can't recall the name at the moment. But they were looking for someone like his type.
Mm.
Um, but we'll see what happens, what they end up doing in the end. And like we said, we'll update everyone once we get more information on, our big guy here, Jonathan Majors. Man, again, it's sad to see, but again, if he did it to himself, my man. You got the
Yeah.
guys out there just understand. Hey, and ladies too, man. Y'all get violent too, brother. Like sister, you get violent too, sis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we got to keep our hands to ourselves, and we also have to learn better ways to have an argument and to voice our frustrations and have more intellectual conversations about what's going on. I mean, the first reaction shouldn't be to swing, hit,
Hmm.
choke. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like talk it out and just
Hmm.
remember, man, nobody's worth all that, man. I mean, look what this man's about to lose, and he did it to himself, man.
Yeah.
Um, Again, maybe like we'll see
Yeah.
what actually happens there, man. But yeah, listen, that's gonna be it on the news end for Mr. Majors there. B, I feel like you said you were gonna head out and do some work and stuff like that, brother.
Yeah, I gotta finish some homework for tonight.
Oh, real life sucks. It ruins the
Real life
podcast.
freaking
Yeah, man.
sucks, dude.
All
I'm
right,
done
man. Well,
September. I'm done September.
oh, brother, I graduate May 18th, brother. It's coming
Nice.
down. All right, B. Well, so we'll catch you on the next podcast, B. Probably do a review
Adios,
on
everybody.
Rise Evil Dead Rise.
Nice.
Rise. Sounds good. I'll see you guys then.
All
All
right,
right,
bro.
B. Later.
Later.
So continuing the podcast is just our man in the chair, Al, and myself, Hav here. And the reason why me and Al are staying on is because we did catch a couple movies in the last week or so, and we never got a chance to review them or talk about them. So we're gonna go over some of these movies, which happens to be Cocaine Bear, and also we got to see Knock at the Cabin, which is, again, these movies have already came out in the last month or so, and with the speed of these movies coming out to digital is just so fast. Like if you miss a movie, you're like, I'll just wait 2 weeks and it'll come out on TV. And sure enough, there it is. It's right
Yeah.
there on Peacock for free. Al, really quick, what's your thoughts on that? Does that change the way you view movies now, the fastness and the speed that it comes out on digital?
um, I think it's been affecting, yeah, going to see it in the theater. Like I'm quick to say, if I kind of like what we were saying last podcast on
Hmm.
Dungeons and Dragons,
Right.
where we were like, you know what? At first, we were going to let it just go, watch it on streaming. But in that case, some of the reviews made me say, check it out in the theater.
Hmm.
Um, with these movies, I didn't hear anything that made me want to rush to see them in the theater.
Yeah.
So, to your point, knowing that they'd be on streaming relatively soon, I held off, and I said, you know what? No need to run and see it in the theater
Right.
because I'll be able to watch it at home. Whereas it used to be months, if not a year or more. Now it's
Hmm.
within what, a month and a half, if not 2 months. One of the streaming services will have it.
Right.
So that was the case with Cocaine Bear. I mean, I had heard, oh, this is the funniest movie. You need to come watch it.
Hmm.
I was hearing nothing but good things, and I'm glad I waited to watch it on streaming.
Yeah.
And
Same.
Knock on the Cabin was weird because I was on the fence with that one because I
Hmm.
like Night Shyamalan. I like his movies. I like the way he goes with some of his movies that they don't always land, but I like the way he goes and steers and directs the movies. Um, and I overall, I wish I had seen it in a theater though. I did
Yeah.
like it. I wish he had left a little bit more of guesswork for the ending, but I guess we'll go over that when we discuss it in detail. But
Right.
to your point, it has affected whether how I weigh what movies I go see in a theater.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that as well because, like, I'll give you the best example I have. I was just rewatching the release from this past January, the first episode of the year,
Yeah.
and we were talking about the movies we can't wait to see, and mine was Creed 3.
Okay.
And I didn't get a chance to see Creed 3 in the theaters the first week that it came out. I was going to see it the second week, and then something else came up, and then the kids got sick, and then something else happened. And by the time that I was ready to go see it, I remember I turned on my television, and when I turn on my TV, if it's on the Fios app, Fios has this, like, I guess it's a screensaver that kind of just changes for all the different movies or shows that are going on in Fios. And
Mhm.
sure enough, I saw Creed 3, and I was just like, "Wait, what?" It's like and now it's so funny because, like, now I feel like it's right there for streaming. Why would I go to the movie theaters to go see it if I could just watch it right from my home? And
Yeah.
I was really trying to make an effort to go see it in the theaters, and then I'm like, "Wait, it's already out on TV." It was legitly like about a month,
Yeah.
and it was already on the streaming services. I still see, Michael B. Jordan with his freaking boxing glove looking at me, like I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna wait to watch it on this thing here. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it has changed the way I've looked at certain movies. Same thing like you said with Cocaine Bear. When I saw the commercials, while I was interested because of the reviews kept I'm sorry, they kept coming back, stating that oh, it was a great time in the theaters, interesting, and it's nuts. But there was just something about it where I was just like, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna wait on Cocaine Bear. And same thing with Knock at the Cabin, where it's the opposite, which was Knock at the Cabin. I was interested because it was an M Night movie, and then I saw the trailer. I'm like, yeah, it's not really grabbing my attention, not really making me want to go see it right away. And out of the two movies, I really kind of, like you just said, I wish I would have seen Knock at the Cabin in the theaters
Mhm.
because there's actually a scene in the movie where the guy says, when I was looking in the light, I saw someone. And immediately I said to myself, I have to replay that part because knowing M. Night, there was someone there, you know? And sure enough, if you replay it back, there is like a weird shadowy figure there, which is kind of crazy. So I did kind of wish I did see that in the theater. So I mean, listen, it does change the way that I repeat view movies. I used to go to movies like if I really liked it, like for instance, Top Gun Maverick. Normally I would have seen Top Gun Maverick like 2 or 3 times in the theater. But knowing that that movie was coming out in within a month or a month and a half to digital, I said I would just wait, you know? Same thing with those Marvel movies now. You know, I think even Marvel movies that I'm not too crazy about, I'll rewatch it once it comes out on Disney Plus, but I won't go back to the theaters to go see it for a second time.
Mm,
You know, so it definitely has changed the game. All right, so let's
yep,
get right into let's talk about the best one that we liked first, man. That Knock at the
okay,
Cabin.
yep,
Um, I thought Knock at the Cabin, Al, was pretty interesting, man. At first it was one of those things where your assumption is it's an M Night movie. There's going to be a twist somewhere, right? You're feeling like, okay, where's the twist? Nothing's really happening, or they're in a toy play set. You know, something's off. And just a good story. A lot of great actors in it. Jonathan Groff from uh, what was it? The shit that we lost our mind with Hamilton.
yes,
Yeah, Jonathan Groff from Hamilton was in that movie. Shout out to Dave Batista.
yeah, he
Yo,
did his thing
dude,
on that, yeah,
he I, I hate to say that I was shocked with how well he acted in that movie. But dude, he did his thing. I was really surprised. Like he didn't play like just some big behemoth or some idiot. He played a
mhm,
gym teacher or a coach for some from skits in a school. Um, you know, he still was physical though, of course, because he's
yeah,
a big ass dude. But overall, the story was very interesting. I mean, it really caught me off guard there, dude. I mean, did you
yeah.
what did you think originally from the movie?
No, I thought it was interesting too, the way they came in, you have that couple and their child at the cabin,
Hmm.
and then you see her, bump into Dave Bautista, and I thought the premise was pretty interesting, because it's like, you hear somebody come in and make what the comments that he was saying and what they were needing them to do.
It's outlandish.
You're like, get the fuck out of here. Come on.
Right, yeah, yeah, sure.
Come on. Yeah. Okay. You need one of us to sacrifice one of ourselves in order to save the world. Yeah. Okay. You're not
Al,
going to.
let's be real. Who was gonna say yes to the first time they asked?
Exactly, and then you're gonna sit there, you're watching everything happen on TV, you're like, "All right, coincidence," or that always had like, kinda like what they were saying in the movie, like, "Oh, that's,"
Right.
and it's crazy, and I kept asking myself, at what point would I start believing? Like, how many
Yeah.
coincidences would I need to start believing that, "Yo, this shit is real," what he's saying is right?
Right.
And the way he played it out, where each of them was representing, um
The
like,
Four
I think,
Horsemen.
yeah, the four horsemen, but like one of them was compassion, one of them was hatred or something like that, like they were
Or
supposed to be
nurturing.
yeah, nurturing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I liked all those aspects, and that's what I'm saying, I like the way he tells a story and he weaves all these little details together to
Yeah.
get you to the ending, and the ending is supposed to be the whole twist.
Right.
So what I was expecting him to do was that this was all just coincidences,
Yeah.
and yeah, they were just crazy people coming up with some shit that
They all had a vision.
yeah, they all had something that they thought was more grandiose than it was, and meanwhile it was just,
Mhm.
no, it's a fucking coincidence that this all happened, and and then one of them, maybe they did decide to kill one of them, and it was for nothing because it was all just a coincidence.
Yeah, you know where they got me really starting to be like, "Oh shit, this is gonna be crazy, or this is gonna be some kind of twist." Was when what was it, Daddy Eric? I
Yeah,
forgot their name. There was two. It was Daddy Eric and Daddy
yeah,
Dave.
and Andrew.
Oh, Daddy Andrew. I think it was Daddy Eric was the more aggressive one, right?
Yeah,
Right? I think it was Daddy Eric who was talking to the quote unquote horseman, and he was saying, "Wait a minute, that guy looks familiar. I know him." They're like, "That's the guy who threw the bottle at my head at the bar." And I was just like, "Oh, they probably all know each other, or they bumped into each other somewhere, or had some kind of an incident." And now they're being, I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna be crazy. It's interactive, and or
hmm
like that they're all somehow connected." And sure enough, it was like, nah, just that one guy, just, just Weasley.
yeah.
That was great seeing Weasley too, right?
Yeah,
From Harry
yeah,
Potter,
yeah.
man. I'm
He's
like, oh
really expanding his palette there with
yeah,
these projects. Yeah,
yeah. And you know what? I couldn't describe the movie out because I was like, is it a horror movie? Is it a drama? Is it? There was no sense of comedy in it, and usually you get a little laugh sometimes with M Night. I mean,
Yeah.
did you see his little his cameo as he always does?
Yeah.
He was on the Home Shopping Network. Oh
Yeah.
goodness.
Usually he injects himself a little bit more, so I was glad that he left himself just like that.
Right on a TV commercial or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But with the things that were happening, like let's see, the first thing was the earthquakes that led to the tsunamis.
Mhm.
That was kind of crazy. I would not have killed my other half on that one, right? Or
Mm-mm.
killed myself for that one. The second one was the disease. Too soon.
Yeah.
Way
Yeah.
too soon, guys. We're still not over this whole COVID thing. So like that's too soon. But even with that one, it was just like, nah, it's like that could be a coincidence. The ones with the planes dropping, that was like,
Yeah.
okay, something's up.
Yeah.
Because it was more than one plane.
Yeah, it was like it would just falling all, and it was all over the world. Like it wasn't in
Dude.
one place, kid. It was
Did you see
everywhere.
how they looked? Just like dead birds in the air falling. It was just crazy.
Mhm.
And what was the last one? The last one was this. It looked like just like lightning was creating fires, and
Yeah, I think everything was just starting to burn. Yeah.
yeah,
I
no, that
forgot what
was
was causing
nuts.
the fires, but there were like fires just everywhere starting to come out.
Yeah. Now I don't know. Al, was there some kind of deeper meaning to this movie, or was it just we're watching the Four Horsemen on a trip?
See, and that's what I guess I maybe on a rewatch because I was
Mhm.
watching so far into the movie expecting it to just be bullshit
Right, me
that
too.
I was I wasn't reading too much into stuff. So like I don't know was he is he promoting like just faith,
Right,
like blind faith, like uh, in religion that's basically what you need to have is blind faith.
hmm,
There's not always going to be some like in the you hear stories of burning bushes with a voice coming out of it, like you don't
right.
have that nowadays. So really your belief in your religion comes from blind faith, just
You're trusting
really,
it.
yeah,
You,
just
yeah,
trusting that, yep, there's a higher being and I'm following his word or their word. And was this what he was trying to teach us, that we need to have that again because there is something higher? um I like is that like that's what I would want to see, if that's really what he was trying to teach us through or trying to say through this movie. When you now know that, okay, this shit is actually real, and the
right,
shits that happening is because they're needing to sacrifice, prove themselves by sacrificing their one of themselves, um, and just go and take it from there and see what I take away now, knowing that it's real, and then seeing what little clues he actually left that it was real, other than the events on the TV. Because he usually has something blatant, and then he usually has something very subtle. So
right.
now I'd like to go see what those subtle clues are, in telling us and showing us as to what he's trying to tell,
Hmm.
um, without being the overt like he usually does.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, man, what was great to see for me about the movie was more of, I guess, a statement on M. Night Shyamalan. Because I gotta tell you, man, his first three movies, I was a huge fan.
Yeah.
Even though people didn't like the one, what was the one with the one in the woods?
Oh, The
Uh,
Village.
the Village. Even though they got a lot of shit because people didn't like the twist, there
Oh,
was
kid,
so
I
much.
love that movie. That's one of my favorite of his, is The
Dude,
Village.
there's some beautiful shots in that movie, and the colors of yellow and red in that movie, absolutely amazing. Of course, no one's ever really gonna top Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
That took everyone by storm and kind of created the monster that is, M. Night Shyamalan as far as that director at that moment in time.
Hmm.
Lady in the Water kind of let me down.
Hmm.
There's been a couple movies though. Devil. There's the one about the grandparents that was pretty cool too. I forgot what that one was called. Was it grandparents? I think it was like the grandparents that the family left the kids with, and he went through all this shit.
Oh, well.
This I forgot the name of that one,
Oh,
but there's been a couple. Yeah, you got it.
yeah, well, you're gonna make me look them up. With the grandparents?
Yeah, there was one where they were at the house and the grandparents were acting weird, or the grandmother was acting weird.
Oh, that was him? I know which
That
one
was
you're
him.
talking about, but I don't remember. The Visit.
Yeah,
Yes, he was a
The
producer on
Visit.
that one.
Yes,
Yes, The
yeah,
Visit. Yes.
and
Oh shit, I didn't know that was him.
Yeah, and I feel like granted, like Knock at the Cabin. I'm not gonna say it was like a hit, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it was good, and I feel like I think he's going back to kind of just doing his own thing.
Yeah.
Did you like the twist that there was no twist?
Yeah, because like I said, I got so used to looking for the twist. Like you said,
Mhm.
the reason why I liked The Village was because I was really wanting to know where they were going with this monster, where they were going with these people living supposedly in an older time. Meanwhile, they're living in modern time. They've just been secluded so well that they thought they were, they were.
Yeah.
We thought they were. So looking forward to those twists. That's why I was saying I really was just watching this movie. This shit ain't real. They're gonna end up killing one of themselves, and it'll be
Hmm.
for nothing. So
Right.
for there to like actually be like, no, everything that he was saying was really what was happening. I'm like, okay, there's a good twist because it got
Yeah,
me.
man.
Because like
And
when
he,
it,
yeah, go for it.
now I was just gonna say because when it turned out that everything they were saying was
Was
real,
real.
and they
Hmm.
almost made the world come to an end. I was like, fuck, okay, I wasn't expecting that one.
Right. Same. Same. And again, this one also had some beautiful moments. Like that moment in the car at the end with the daughter and Daddy Eric. And they played the song that came on was oh, I forget the name of the song now, but I just watched this 2 days ago. But anyway, it was a song, something boots or
Oh, that they were
something,
singing, yeah, that they were singing, and one of them didn't like the song.
right? And then Daddy Eric shut off the song at first,
Mhm.
and then he put it back on, and it was just like, oh, okay, So it was pretty awesome to see that, man. And again,
Yeah,
it's just his directing style, and I guess that he's still kind of I'm not sure if he wrote this entirely himself, but it seems like he still has that touch where he can find the little magic in between the lines and stuff like that, man. It was awesome. I definitely enjoyed it. It's probably one of the top movies I've seen this year because there's been a couple good movies, but really it's like not too much so far this year. And
yeah,
granted, we're almost at the halfway point, which is kind of scary, but we got some good movies coming still.
yeah.
One of the movies out that was not in my top list was this movie that we were told was exciting, crazy, funny. Cocaine Bear.
Oh god.
Cocaine Bear. A overly dramatic movie about something that did happen in real life and they just went next level with it. So when they
Yeah,
say based on true events, not this one. This was just based on a story
yeah.
and they ran with it.
Kid, I bet you. I want to look up the story, but I wonder if the only true part of the movie is that cocaine fell out of the plane. Everything
Yes.
after that is made up. I wouldn't be surprised because it was so far fetched. The whole movie.
Right. So I mean, let's get right into it, man. And again, listen, this movie's been out now for I would say at least 2 months,
Hmm.
theaters and also online and date and not dating, streaming. So let's just get right into the whole thing there. I mean, listen, I'll tell you the truth, man. There was moments in the movie that I enjoyed and made me say, "Oh shit." One of the scenes that really caught me off guard was the whole ambulance and the EMT
Oh,
scene. For the EMT scene, that was brutal, son. Like there was, and it was weird because it was like awkward moments,
yeah,
but filled within like crazy moments. I think that whole EMT emergency scene was crazy in the cabin with the park ranger.
yeah,
She's trying to whisper bear as the EMT
yeah,
is opening the door, and you just see the bear face come out of the dark and come up forward. That was pretty cool.
yeah,
But the craziest part, Al, is when park ranger in the stretcher comes out of the ambulance, bounces once, goes face first into the ground, and because she's stuck, she is just sliding on her face down.
yeah. Oh, that was
Dude, that was insane.
yeah. Yo, that with all those kills, would you? At first, I got confused. I wasn't sure if this was a comedy or would you classify this as a horror?
Dude, that's another one where I don't know how to classify it because it's like its own thing. Because I know there was things that were trying to be funny and it wasn't.
Hmm.
Um, but then there was just this like awkward conversations in almost every conversation. Like the
Yeah.
three quote unquote bullies,
Hmm.
the way they were talking, I'm like, what's going on? I'm like,
Yeah.
for bullies, they're talking kind of like stupid, like
Y- Yeah, like little punks.
right.
That's why.
But then things that would happen to them, like how the big one died with the gunshot straight to the head,
Oh, that God.
dude, that was kind of brutal. And I'm like, was that supposed to be funny or like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
because the way
That's
they
what.
played it off was like, "Oh, my fault. I meant to hit the bear." Like,
My bad. Get
what?
out the way.
Yeah,
What?
what? You just shot a kid in the freaking face. Like, and then there was
Kid.
this like crazy things. Like the kids were eating coke with on a spoon.
Yeah, yeah, my wife wanted me to turn it off at that point. She goes, "Listen, they're promoting kids doing drugs. Turn this off. Like, get
Yeah,
out of here. Don't." I'm like, yeah, and I have to agree with her. That scene,
that was a little much.
they didn't need that. They should have
Like
cut
I
that
get
scene
it's a
out.
movie and they were just like I guess being curious kids, but at that moment in time, I'm like, that girl looks crazy young. That kid, that boy looks crazy young.
Yeah,
And they're showing us them eating coke on a spoon or on a
yeah,
knife.
knowingly doing it. It wasn't like they did it not
Yeah.
knowing what they were doing. They were knowingly doing it. Yeah,
Yeah, that was kind of nuts, man. I mean,
yeah,
shout out to Elizabeth Banks with her directing.
yeah,
Not for nothing like if they were going to say like Elizabeth Banks is going to do another movie, I wouldn't be like, "Nah, fuck that. I'm not watching it cuz she did Cocaine Bear." Like, no, I'd be
yeah,
like, "All right, I mean, I'll give it a shot as long as it's a good premise and a good
yeah.
trailer."
I mean, given what she had to work with, she did a pretty good job. You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
because
So what's your overall thoughts on the story there?
at the overall, it was good. I mean, overall, it had a good potential,
Mhm.
and I don't know if it's a good sign of the movie or a bad sign. The fact that I can't truly feel comfortable classifying it as a horror or a comedy
Right.
because there was one scene like I can not stop laughing sometimes if you say something funny that I was not expecting.
Okay, like
And there
what
was
was that?
one scene in the movie, and it involved the ranger.
Uh-huh.
What's the actress's name? Margot Martindale. She's been in quite a few movies, but she's like
Uh-huh.
getting ready for the character from Modern Family to come over, and they're talking, and he points to a beaver that she had on the counter, and he
Uh-huh.
tells her, he goes, "Yo, you got a dusty beaver here," and she goes, "Yeah, I'm working on it."
I
He,
remember that shit.
okay, but she said that I had to pause it because I couldn't stop laughing. Oh,
Oh my
because
goodness.
she had the face that the actress put on was like, "Yeah, I'm working on it." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
damn, kid." But then but then the next scene after that is like him getting his leg bitten off and
Right.
and then falling from the tree head first, cracking his neck, and then his leg falls after him. I'm like, which
Dude.
again was kind of funny if you think about it. But it again,
It
there was a
it
balancing act. Is it
yeah, it
horror,
was weird.
comedy? Which one is it?
Yeah, man. And, I mean, and not for nothing, that I don't want to say the CGI was incredible. I mean, you could tell it was a fake bear the entire
Yeah.
time. It just looked off. Even the baby bears in the dark look
Oh
off.
god, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, listen, the whole Ray Liotta aspect and Ice Cube's son, I
yeah.
forgot his name in real life, but
Oh, the son, O'Shea
O'Shea
Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he did an okay part. The
yeah,
guy who weirded me out in the movie was our Han Solo. I forgot his real name, but Han Solo in this movie, the young Han Solo, of course, from
yeah,
the single story there. Um, I didn't get his whole vibe and his whole thing. It was just the way he was speaking was weird, and it was just like I don't know, like you could tell he definitely was trying to play like I'm not like my dad, but it was just so completely just a weird role, and I'm just
yeah.
like,
And I understand he was in mourning, but they
yeah.
really went overboard with the mourning aspect of it.
Yeah, the 20
Y-
questions.
Yeah, and then it turns out it was the girl, the wife, the wife all the time. So,
Right.
but I liked O'Shea Jackson's character. I thought he
Mhm.
did good. Ray Liotta. I mean, I think this was his last role, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so too.
unfortunately. Yeah. So now knowing what he was going through personally, I like the job he did.
Yeah.
Like I really believed he was a torn person. Like, listen, I don't
Mhm.
want to do this, but if I don't do this, we're all dead.
Right, of course. That's how many millions was in one bag?
Yeah, I think it was like
75
15
million?
something like that. Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
ridiculous amount of money worth of drugs that was in that bag that fell. So
right,
he's
and it
like,
was like, how many bags did he throw out the damn plane? And dude,
yeah,
that's a crazy story that this guy really did dump out, cocaine in the woods. They don't know how much thrown out
yeah,
the airplane,
yeah.
but for him to jump out the plane and, and it crashed because his parachute didn't deploy,
Okay.
dude,
Yeah, and apparently that was what they were told to do. Like if you feel like you're going to be found or whatever, like they
dump
were
it.
to dump it there. So, and given that this was 85, I don't know how they were expecting to find all of that stuff.
Right,
It's not like now where they can say, "All right, GPS the bag, throw like
right.
an air
Put a
tag
tag
in
on
there or
it.
something." Yeah, but yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know what they were thinking with that.
Um, another cool scene that I thought in the movie was the ending, which was kind of weird, where the bear sliced open Ray Liotta's stomach and the baby bears were eating his intestines.
Oh, kid.
Blech.
Okay.
Oh god, that was so gross. It was eating like it was hot dogs. I was like, oh
Yeah.
god. And like I
Uh,
said, the whole thing with the mom and the kids,
yeah.
again, it was so many characters in there. And again, I hate stealing other people's like lines or what they believe about the movie, but I just wasn't invested in any of the characters, not one.
Mm-mm.
They introduced us to a detective. They introduced us to I guess, the cop that was working for Ray Liotta as well. They introduced us to the three kids, the park ranger, the park ranger's lover, the two kids, and then they didn't show the two kids for a while. It was like jumping all over the place, and I guess we were following the bear everywhere, but
Mhm.
for all the killing that it was doing and all the stuff that was happening, no one it just didn't care enough
No,
for
and
any of
it
the people on there.
yeah, and it didn't explain, like, every time it dragged someone away, it killed the person, but it
Mhm.
dragged the girl and took it all the way back to its cave and didn't
Right.
kill her, didn't cut her up, didn't do anything.
No.
Like, there wasn't even an attempt to explain why she was spared other than, "Well, she's a good guy, so we gotta keep her alive." Like, yeah,
Yeah. It's just
so,
kind of crazy, man.
yeah,
Uh,
but to me, in a way, like, the only saving grace was the funny parts to me were funny, so,
right. I got you, man. And
yeah.
listen, I've seen a lot of people out there saying they didn't even laugh at some of the stuff and that it was just like kind of weird and crazy. But let's leave off on this. Al, what's your recommendation for Cocaine Bear and also for the Knock at the Cabin?
Knock at the Cabin, I would say, is a watch.
Yeah.
Especially if you're an M Night Shyamalan fan, watch it.
Hmm.
It lives up to his kind of movie, what you'll enjoy, given the way he tells stories. As far as Cocaine Bear, if you're already subscribed to Peacock, watch it when you have
Yeah.
nothing else to watch. It's semi enjoyable, and I want to say it's truly the story because they have good actors in there. I mean, Kerry Russell plays the mom.
Hmm.
And we said, Ray Liotta and O'Shea Jackson. So yeah, watch it, but I wouldn't go out of your way. Don't subscribe to Peacock just to watch this
Just to
movie.
do it, yeah.
Yeah, wait till it probably comes on another streaming service, if anything, that you do subscribe to. But if you get a chance, watch it if you have nothing else to.
Yeah, as far as my recommendations go, for Knock at the Cabin, I'm going to say you should see it. I think it was an interesting movie. And if we're just judging it off of movies from 2023, it's in my top five for this year for sure. For right now, I mean, there hasn't
Mhm.
been the hits and the blockbusters haven't come out just yet, which should be coming now in the next couple of weeks. There with Guardians coming out in May. And I think we have Evil Dead Rise this week. And I think there's some other
Yeah,
movies that are coming out. Still haven't seen The Exorcist Pope uh
yeah.
the Pope's Exorcist, I mean. So still waiting on that. So I mean, it's still right now in the top five for me, but it's something you should see. As far as Cocaine Bear, even if you have Peacock and you have a subscription, I'm going to say don't rush to see it, because I think if you watch it, listen, if you have like a quirky sense of humor, you might like it. If you're into like that campy type of stuff where it's
Hmm.
not like it's not mainstream, it follows its own thing, then yeah, go for it. You're gonna have a great time. But if you like a story and you want to be involved or in depth with the characters, yeah, this ain't it, man. So
Yeah, no.
Cocaine Bear for me is a don't rush to see it, even if you have the streaming service. Um, so listen, that's gonna be us for this week. Again, we're gonna hope to go see Evil Dead Rise this Thursday. We're gonna aim to go check that out. It looks like it's a
Yeah,
crazy horror movie. It's been getting a lot of great reviews out there. So we're gonna try to make that happen for this week. So if you guys don't know just yet, Evil Dead Rise does come out this week. Also, The Covenant comes out this week with Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm trying to think of anything else that's pretty good that's coming out this week, but I think that's it.
yeah,
So we're going to try to see that and get you a review for the Evil Dead Rise movie this next podcast coming up. And if not, we'll come up with some content for you guys to check us out. If you are not a subscriber or you don't have us listed as a podcast playlist app, I'm sorry, podcast playlist thing that comes up for you guys, look
mhm,
for us on your Apple or your any of your podcast play apps. Just hit the plus symbol on the top, and just that way you get access to all our podcasts every time we put one out. And if you also are watching us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. And that way, whenever we put out a podcast on YouTube, you get notified by that as well. We're trying to get to 100. We're at like 88 subscribers right now.
yeah.
Help us get to 100. That'd be amazing to see that nice solid 100 number, and then we'll work on 1,000 after that. Don't
Yeah,
worry about it.
yeah.
But yeah, we'll take the any help we can get. So if you guys out there know someone that likes movies, let them know about us. If you like us, maybe somebody else would. So listen, coming out of Long Island, New York, we are the Real Fan Review. With us today, saying goodnight is our man in the chair, Al.
Have a good night, everybody.
Myself, Hav, saying thank you. Thank you for watching, listening. We'll see you guys on the next podcast. Until next time.